Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today let's make a muck dyed rainbow geode style shirt. I have the shirt turned inside out, and to begin I'm going to grab one corner of the sleeve and lift the shirt up off of the table. I'm going to tie the shirt kind of like I was making a single geode shirt, but I'm not going to put a center in the geode. I do want it to be perfectly imperfect though, so I'm going to tie the lines, but I'm going to vary the widths and the distance between the lines. And I'm also going to lift the shirt up off of the table several times and just move it around a little bit so that my lines don't get to be too perfect. To tie my lines, I'm using sinew. I'm almost finished with the tying part, and when I'm finished, I'm going to put the shirt aside and allow it to dry out really well. Because the center of this fold is really thick, if I went ahead and started applying the dye right now, I probably would not get good color saturation in the center. So I'm going to set it aside and allow it to dry out completely so that the color saturation in the middle is really good and I get color all throughout the shirt. Full disclosure, I got really busy and this shirt sat for about a month before I got around to dyeing it. So it's definitely dry by now. So there are several ways that you can ice dye a geode inspired shirt like this one. I've chosen to go ahead and ice dye this shirt in the muck, which basically means that I'm going to put it in a container and allow the shirt to sit in and to process in all of the runoff from the melting ice and dye. To make the shirt fit inside of this plastic container, I twisted it until it was really tight. I want the shirt to fit inside of the container as tightly as possible. That way I can get by without using quite as much ice and dye to cover the top. Not only am I going to muck dye this shirt, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place the ice on the shirt first, and then I'm going to place the dye over the top of the ice. I'm going to ice dye this shirt using rainbow colors. So all of the colors that I'm using on the shirt are from Dharma Trading Company. And I'm going to place the dye over the top of the ice in stripes. I'm starting with fire red, followed by deep orange, lemon yellow, bright green, turquoise, grape, and I'm going to end with fuchsia. I'm using some stainless steel lab spoons to apply the dye with. I used to use plastic spoons, but I felt like the dye adhered to or stuck to those plastic spoons a lot worse. These also come in various sizes. I have some smaller ones that I use for more detailed work. There's a link down below in the description for where I purchased them. I also put links for all the dye colors that I've used and a lot of the other tie-dye supplies that I use. Now I'm going to add a small sprinkle of soda ash over the top of the ice. And this is just to make sure I still have plenty left in my shirt when all of this ice that I added melts. Okay, so now I'm going to set the container aside and allow the shirt to process for at least 24 hours after all of this ice melts. I went ahead and left this one for about 2 days. I also placed this smaller container inside of a little bit larger container just in case it leaked by any chance. To rinse the shirt, I took it to my utility sink and I began rinsing it in cold water. I left it tied for this part, and what I'm doing is I'm rinsing out the soda ash that's in the shirt. Since the dye needs soda ash to be able to bond properly with the shirt, if the very first thing that I do is rinse the shirt in cold water to get out that soda ash, it won't be very easy for any of the excess dye that is rinsed out of the shirt to bond with the fabric. If you're wondering why I don't just rinse in hot water to get out the soda ash, it's because not only does the dye need soda ash to bond with the fabric, but it also needs heat. So that's kind of the idea behind hot water irrigation. The hot water is what bonds the dye to the fabric. So if I start rinsing the shirt in hot water, if my water is too hot, it can actually bond some of those stray pieces of dye to the fabric if I still have soda ash left in the fabric. So when I rinse it in cold water, it gets the soda ash out. It doesn't necessarily flush out all of the excess dye though that didn't bond with the fabric. The hot water is really good to do that. So after I untie the shirt, I'll rinse it just a little bit more in cold water just to make sure that I've removed the soda ash from any of those areas in the middle of the shirt. Then I'm going to warm the water up to hot and rinse out the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. At this point, since I don't, or shouldn't at least, have any more soda ash left in the shirt, any stray dye color should not go ahead and bond with the shirt. However, if there's still quite a bit of dye coming out of the shirt after I've rinsed for a while, I'll go ahead and soak the shirt in some hot water. I just add some hot water to my sink, and then I'll add a little splash of Blue Dawn dish detergent to the water. Blue Dawn dish detergent is pH neutral, and so if there happens to be any small amount of soda ash remaining in the shirt, it's going to go ahead and help keep any of that dye that's rinsed out from bonding back onto the shirt. After I soak the shirt for a while in hot water, when the water gets cool, I go ahead and change it out, and I continue that soaking process until the water is almost clear. Then I'm going to put the shirt into my washing machine, and I'm going to use some of Dharma's textile detergent. Using the textile detergent in the washing machine will also help keep any stray dye from rebonding with the fabric. I wash the shirt using a hot water cycle, and then after it's washed and dried, this is what it looks like. So what do you guys think? I love this shirt. I think it turned out looking really pretty. I really like all the colors. And I actually like the fact that they're not super distinct like they would be if I placed just a separate color in each one of the sections. I like the way that they kind of flow into one another. I actually think this is the first time that I've ever posted a video for a geode type shirt where I've placed the dye over the top of the ice. I think it's a great method for doing these type shirts though. Let's be honest, in nature, colors just kind of flow into one another, and so I just think the effect on this shirt is really pretty. But what do you guys think? Do you like the dye over the top of the ice? Drop me a comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are. And if you've enjoyed the video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it. I'd also love it if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.